Hey, this is Charles Rathman once again here on the Rathman Insights Explainer blog with my longtime associate Paco Gomez Escofet. How's your day going, sir?
That's doing fine and happy to talk to you. I'm talking from Barcelona, so for me it's the afternoon already. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. So we've been catching up here a little bit, Paco, and I realize that there are a few things that we're discussing that bear the attention of a broader group. You're currently, as you mentioned, in Barcelona. What can you tell me about the activities that you're doing there with your current organization and affiliations?
Well, Barcelona, it's a city where technology it's all over the place. I mean, it's one of the most value places to start a project in Europe. We are among the 10 most startup cities all over Europe. Also, people like to come to live here, so that's an asset for us. The northern people in Europe like to come down and come to visit our city. This is my hometown, so I'm here because also it's my hometown. And in our case, I'm running the Barcelona Contech Hub, which is a place where we gather all the actors and all the value chain in the construction sector, uh, construction companies from developers, startups, of course, manufacturers, distributors, all the value chain. And we're trying to boost, we're trying to help the technological innovation in the construction industry with a special focus in startups.
Yeah. So to be clear, I mean, what you're looking at there is construction technology as opposed to property technology. Have you had to kind of make that point that the two are kind of different?
Yeah, that's good. That's something that it's yeah, different point of views. For me, Contech and PropTech are different ways and different parts of this chain in the construction. Contech comes from construction technology, and PropTech comes from property technology. And we, the part in construction, say that PropTech are the ones who manage what we build, and also PropTech is very associated to real estate. Construction, we construct, we can build houses, we can build infrastructures, airports, anything you want. So it's kind of different. And also in PropTech, it's also because if you see the amount of money that is going from VCs to PropTech and Contech,
Yeah.
nowadays it's bigger in PropTech. Why? Because their business model it's more keen on what we are looking for. They are looking for models like SaaS, which doesn't require a lot of investment, and they escalate very quickly. So that for VCs, PropTech, it's more what they are looking for. To fund a Contech startup requires for starting more money. If you want to build a startup that has a 3D printing machine for building houses,
Yeah.
upfront you need $2 million or $3 million, which VCs don't like to do that. But anyway, we are in the same line. As I said, what we build, they manage. We need to collaborate, and of course, if they want to manage sustainable buildings, we have to build sustainable buildings. So at the end, we all collaborate. But the profile of the people is different.
Yeah, so do you see a difference between prop tech and contech when it comes to like information management about, the design, the construction project itself, putting it in place, because then you have an as built after that, and then turning over that data to the people who are operating it. Do you think that there's a different relationship there between prop tech and contech than there would be in like a production technology, like you referenced 3D building, which really only has a life there, during the construction phase.
Yes, depending on which part of the chain you put the company, But again, the information must be all along the chain and then the construction chain. But it's different what we manage when we are trying to design or we are trying to build the construction than when we really have everything in place already construct. We have built, and then we need to manage. As if you see the prop tech companies, They are talking about mortgages. They are talking about how to rent a property, how to tokenization of properties. It's more. PropTech and FinTech, for example, are also very close, because it's an option. So it's a different phase. We have these initial phases, which is how we build, and then how we manage. It's not the same. 3D construction, it's of course a Contech area. It's not a PropTech area, and especially a Contech area. But after that, if you build a condo with all the 3D houses, if you want to manage all that and put services and make people happier, then it would be a Contech startup that will manage that, take care of that.
Yeah, yeah. One company that I've been spending some time with has a product that allows that general contractor working for a developer to quickly look at data that would normally be of interest to property managers, lease rates given certain, property locations and sizes and amenities, or market values. So you can then, plan and design and construct an asset that will be well received by the market and profitable. So there's, I think, areas of bleed over that we can probably delve into more when we've got, like a few hours and a couple of beverages. But I mean, that's fascinating insight. The fact that you are in Barcelona and that you are frankly not in the United States, where, from our previous conversations, I think we recognize that the United States is a little bit different in terms of in terms of regulation, in terms of our kind of go it alone, kind of don't get help from anybody else or collaborating with anyone kind of culture. Where do you think Barcelona and your work are going to be in a position to show us the way out of this mess that we're in the United States?
To be honest, we are talking about two different models. And again, to be honest, sometimes we miss this regulation that you have in the United States. We are, for us, having to consult a lot of regulations in order to build new products, in order to build new systems or materials, or the way we want to build, and all the regulations that you have to match to get the project, the green light on a project. That's really tough. Sometimes developers need 2 years here in Spain from the day they want to start building until the day they start building, have all the permits. They need 2 years sometimes. That's not possible. That stops everything and all the good behave that you want, and your efforts, everything. You say, okay, I cannot do that. So sometimes we miss that. But it's true that when you go to the United States, I have many friends there and companies there, and we talk about sustainability. They say that comparing to Europe, sustainability in the United States, it's still in develop. Let's say it's progressive, but it's not in our level. And in this case, maybe I prefer the European model, because sustainability, it's something that it's important for us in order to keep the world and the society in the good path. So it's sometimes we have good things and bad things, and we cannot say one is better than the other completely.
Yeah. Well, I've been impressed with, for instance, contractors in the UK, where there is a BIM mandate for government work. That definitely influences the adoption of BIM in private sector work too. Are there certain areas where you think in Spain or Barcelona or other parts of Europe where you see certain construction technologies really being adopted more widely, so that folks can kind of comply with these regulatory regimes or stakeholder demands?
Not really. Maybe the one thing that or the two aspects, the two trends that I see that everybody's adopting. One is this sustainability and decarbonization. In every place in Europe, you will see that everybody is going the same direction. But then the regulation, we have a European regulation, but then sometimes you have local regulations, which is double regulation. Sometimes you have that. And the second thing we have is digitization. Everybody also agrees that we need to digitalize in order to make companies more profitable. Okay, because we still work. It's not everywhere. There are, of course, very big construction companies in Europe that are very digitized, but when you lower a little bit the size of the company, you go to the medium and the small size, they're still using WhatsApp and the paper and the pen, and they are
Yeah.
not as digitized as they should be at this point of time. Right? So I would say sustainability and digitization maybe are the two trends that are more all over Europe. More we have more um, same vision, let's say. Okay, we
Yeah. Well,
agree that it's more important.
yeah. Well, apart from regulators, one other external stakeholder to construction technology and contractors that have something to say about how this technology comes to market is the VC community. And I know that as everyone in this space, would agrees that, venture capital has a strong role to play in the advance of construction technology, but you don't think that that alone is enough. What's your thought in terms of what's really necessary in terms of supporting this development?
I fully agree what you said. Venture capital is very important in the startup world because funding startups, especially in the growth times, it's very important. But sometimes we forget that venture capital is a financial model. It's a financial market. It's a financial company. So sometimes what they believe could be a good startup in order to get a lot of money, and what is a good startup in order to get a new innovation in the market doesn't match. Sometimes it's different. They are very focused on the business model, and the business model of a venture capital is a lot of risk, but a lot of return on investment. That's the business model. So that's what we're looking for. That's why, for example, at SaaS, it's a business model that venture capital used to love. Now I start hearing and listening people that saying that SaaS maybe it's as not good as they said, but it's just the beginning. But anyway, if you want to fund a company in the Contech sector, sometimes the business model is not what they really believe that it's gonna the best way to get a lot of money in a short period of time. So sometimes good ideas doesn't go through because they didn't find this funding from venture capital. So we are trying to help also these initiatives that in terms of innovation are very, very interesting, and companies that could at the end could make a lot of money. Maybe they need a little more time or a little bit more help, or maybe the fund should be a little bit bigger. So we are trying not to just stick at what that the venture capitalists believe that are the path that the Contech sector must follow. Sometimes they fund a very interesting companies. Have a lot of examples, but sometimes they forget another companies that maybe they are or not startups. We can discuss about that, but they are not definitely in the business model that venture capital funds. So that's our approach. It's another actor in the sector, which is important, which is necessary, but it's for us, it's one of a palette of options and different ways of seeing the innovation in construction sector and follow the construction sector. These innovations that we are trying to come up with.
So are you finding additional funding sources for some of these companies, or how are you bringing additional value to the table?
We are trying to find alternatives, of course. It's not easy. It's not easy, but we are trying to find that for our startups. But anyway, sometimes we found a kind of venture capitals that are understanding that. If you see now from the past 5 to 6 years, they are growing. Venture capitals specialize on Contech. They are growing. They are understanding that, and maybe their approach is changing a little bit. So maybe it's not 100% changing in one side or on the other side. It's trying to get an approach from both sides and try to to find a balance between both worlds. But yeah, if not, it's a way of trying alternatives and in our sector, I don't know in the other sectors, but in our sector, there's something very which is different from other startup sectors, which are corporates. In our sector, corporates are always looking for new startups, and if they find projects that are interesting, they can find these funds from corporates, not from venture capital, because the approach of a corporate is not making money in a short period of time. The approach is different. The approach is trying to find new products, new ways of doing things. So then you can find funds in different terms, not in the venture capital term.
Yeah, I've talked to a number of different startup CEOs, sometimes with the VC-oriented companies that then wind up also having their customers come in as stakeholders as
Yes.
well,
Yes.
which
Yes.
would make sense because they're likely then to buy into the product more, roll out more across the organization, into
Feedback.
direction. But it could be that they're not their needs might not mirror the greater part of the market. Yeah, it's always a balancing act, right?
Yes, yes, definitely. And young people, they don't understand that. I've talked with startups every day, and their initially idea is just to go and try to find money from the venture capital. And we need to explain them that there are options, and they need to understand. They need to understand that not only is money upfront, and also venture capitals used to take. There's some kind of let's say from standards saying in the first round, usually we take 10, 50% of the company, then another 10%, which there are some standards. But at the end, this is under the table, things are different. And sometimes you find people more aggressive and people and these entrepreneurs are working not for them, are working for other people in a very initial state of the startup. And that's not good also. So we try to explain them there are different options. Try to find the option that you said. To be honest, I haven't found it very often, but it's very interesting. Why not try to gather clients and say, let's do it together? No? Why not? And invest in us, and then you can be provided with a new service, new product, and also be part of it. And that's also interesting indeed.
Yeah. So when it comes to funding the development of the software, VC funds from customers who are collaborating with you are all important to other funding sources. When it comes to contractors, do you think that contractors in the EU have access to different funding sources so that they can advance digital technologies in their business that we might not have in this side of the pond?
Not really. I don't think so. In fact, one of the problems that we have in order to get this adoption of new technology is that the construction sector, I don't know in America, in the United States, but in Europe, they don't really get a lot of profit. Profit is very small, so it's a volume market more than targeting small. You have, of course, different. You have the luxury, you have the real estate for less expensive market. It depends, but profit it's not that high in this sector. So they don't invest in technology, and I've never seen good programs for adopting really technology in this kind of companies, in contractors, subcontractors, and people that really are hands-on on the construction sector. Maybe they are, but it's not something that it's very common. So it's difficult. It's one of the difficulties we have to make these people adopt these new technologies and believe in them.
Yeah. So do you think that construction technology is advanced to a greater extent in Europe, for instance, than it is in the United States? Are we kind of comparable? How do you think we stack up against you guys?
It's a good question, and depending on who you talk with, it says no. In America, we're more advanced, and sometimes you talk with people in Europe and say no. Here we are more advanced. It's like cars. If you compare an American car and European car, well, we used to like American cars, but also the European cars have this charm, and maybe they have a little big standard on quality. Maybe they are expensive, more expensive. So it depends on how you compare. But from my point of view, I think that in terms of digitization in America, you are more advanced than we are. I think, I believe so. But in terms of some things like, as I said, sustainability and this kind of stuff, I think we are more advanced here in Europe, because we believe in that, and because we are obliged to do it. So one or the other, we need to be more sustainable in our constructions. But well, take a look about the big software companies. Most of them are American companies. Procore, have Autodesk. All these companies are coming from America, from the United States, not from Europe. We don't have here a big software company, as far as I know. Maybe there is, but a company that can be competitor to them, I don't think so. So why? Maybe because you do that better than us. I don't know.
You know, there are some larger ones. I'm thinking about like Coins, and Hexagon owns a number of different products now. But I definitely think that with your activity there in Barcelona, you're going to see more activity, because I know that you're a class act and you're a change maker. And we've seen some interesting innovations break in North America from Barcelona. This HP site print thing, global company. How come they do that in Barcelona?
As I said, Barcelona is a great city. It's a great tech city, and people like to live here. You know that Barcelona is the second most visited city in Europe after Paris?
I've been there. I believe it.
Okay, so for me, from as a person that lives here, sometimes there are too much tourists in the city. But I don't know why people love living here, and we have a tradition of first of all, it was an industrial tradition many years ago, in the last century, and then it has been evolving into the tech area, and we are quite strong on that. So HP is working in Spain for many years, and I believe they have their headquarters in Barcelona for many years. So maybe they decide that it was a good place to install that. And yes, I know the people who are doing that. This little robot, it's really amazing. They are selling it all over the world, and it works fine. And I don't think they have facing competitors. So I think they would be.
In fact, when I first met them, they didn't think they had a competitor either. There's a company called Dusty Robotics that I figure is probably in the market a year or so before, and now they're going to be direct competitors, and both of them, I think, will acknowledge that, hey, if we were really the only ones, that would probably be a signal that we don't have a viable market to go into. Maybe. So, it'll be interesting. You've got the global reach of HP versus the committed one product focus of an insurgent North American company. It'll be fantastic. This is going to be fun to follow. But before I let you go and get back to doing real work, sir, are there other things you wanted to rump the flagpole or share?
No. I mean, I hope to stay in touch. I love to be in touch with you. I always have a lot of insights, and let's stay in touch. And probably one day I'm going to visit you in the US. I don't go regularly, but I used to visit the US from time to time. So attending different events that you have in construction. So hope to meet you in person one day.
Yeah, and what I found is Barcelona is a fantastic seafood city, and I've got indelible memories of some grilled octopus, some squid ink pasta. So I'd like to get out there again soon, sir. So
you're a good gourmet, eh? You're a good gourmet.
Yeah. Well, let's stay in touch, and we'll get this out there, sir. Talk soon.
Thank you very much, Charles.